Question came up when I was playing battles, asking what Pokemon haven't I used? And basically I told him I've used everything. And what I mean by everything is I've used everything in terms of it having like a final evolved form. People will say like, you have not used Spearow competitively in ranked. And to that, I mean, I might have in Let's Go, but you know, I probably have not used Spearow. But there are a lot of Eviolite mons I've used. Like I've used Charmeleon, I've used Wartortle, I've used Metapod. There's a lot of stuff I've used over the years. I've had my YouTube channel for over 10 years. And we're just going to scroll through the Pokedex and see if we can find some Pokemon that I haven't used in videos. Because like I said, I've done pretty much everything. And if there's ever any Pokemon you think that I might have used or might not have used, you can always usually you can type in like THATSAplusONE in the YouTube search bar, and then whatever Pokemon you're looking for. Because especially if it's something that's niche, I'll probably have the video be about that Pokemon, and then it'll probably come up in the search bar. But yeah, so like I was talking about, if it's in the Let's Go Pokedex, the original Gen 1 Pokedex, I've used it. Literally, we played Let's Go. We were the only channel that did Let's Go 100%. We uploaded over 500 Let's Go videos. And I've used everything. I've used literally every single like fully evolved Pokemon in this dex, as well as things like Jigglypuff, Charmeleon. I've used the Gloom. I've used all of these things. So we've definitely used all of them in the Let's Go dex. For sure. That is for sure. Someone says Swanna. Maybe. Alright. No, we got to do it by Pokedex, because that's how you're supposed to do it. Don't want to do it by base stat tool. Got to have it by Pokedex. I've used all these things. Alright. It's where they put the birds right here, because I guess they're still the same Pokedex number. But we're going to go into Gen 2. I've used Meganium. I've used Typhlosion. I've used Feraligatr. I've used Furry, and Sentret. I've used both of these, because Sentret has a really low base speed. It's 20 base speed. Yeah, like Furret, and sorry, Sentret gets like a really, really slow follow me, and so it's really good, but like these guys used to get follow me. I've used Noctowl. I've used Ledian. Like, get checked by the guy that uses Ledian. Ariados gets Sticky Web, super, super good. Used to get, I think it gets Rage Powder too. Me and Eeks both like this Pokemon. Crobat I've used. Lantern I've used. We got, obviously, I've used Togetic a bunch. I've used Xatu. I've used Ampharos. I've used Blossom. I've used Azumarill. I've used Sudowoodo. I guess I could give the context where I've used all these. I've used Jump Up in 2016. I've used Sunflora in 2018. I used Quagsire pretty much every single format. I used Espeon this year and previous years. I've used Umbreon in every format. I've used Murkrow in pretty much every format. Slowking, I used Slowking like 2 weeks ago. I've used the Galarian Slowking one time. I used a rental code, and it wasn't that amazing. Megas, I have more Mega content than any other YouTuber. I've used Misdreavus. It was actually really, really good in 2017. It was so basically Misdreavus was like really, really good in 2017 because everyone like over prepped for like Porygon 2, and Misdreavus was like bulkier than Porygon 2 and a Ghost type. So if you were to bring like full close combat mons to beat the Porygon 2, you'd lose to Misdreavus. So super tech. I've used Unknown and Wobbuffet. I have used Girafarig. I think that was probably back in 2017 or maybe even 2015. I used Girafarig. I've used a lot of Fortress. I've used more Dunsparce than any Pokemon player in existence. I've even got I have Dunsparce CP that qualifies for the World Championships. I've used actual Gligar as Eviolite Gligar in lower tiers. I've used Steelix in singles and doubles. I've used Granbull, Great Intimidate Mon. I've used Quillfish in multiple formats. It was pretty good in 2017 with like Poisonium Z. Scizor, obviously. Shuckle we've used. Heracross is my boy. We use Steezel a lot. Great Inner Focus Mon. I've used Ursaring before on like a full bear team in 2017. I've used Macargo, but that was like on a rental team that wasn't that great, so I didn't make that team, but I have featured it. I've used Piloswine before. It's a decent Eviolite option. I've used both Corsola forms. Sorry. I've used Octillery, great Water Spout Mon. I used Delibird last Christmas. I've used Mantine a lot, especially in 2018. I loved Mantine. I've used Skarmory in pretty much every singles format. Let's see, so this goes all the way down there. I've used Kingdra, obviously. I've used Donphan in singles, probably about 2014. I use Porygon 2 all the time. We use Stantler in our Nuzlocke, but I've also used Stantler. It's, like I said, it's the only Pokemon that gets Intimidate and Trick Room. So I've used Stantler in older formats as well. Smeargle is obviously OG. Everyone's used Smeargle. I've used Hitmontop. I've used Miltank before. Tyro doesn't count. It's not an evolved form. So like you're not gonna try and you're not gonna steal one with Tyrogue. Obviously I've used Blissey, I've used all 3 legendary dogs. I've used T-Tar, Lugia, Ho-Oh, I've used Celebi, and we're into Gen 3 now. Yeah, go watch the Delibird vid. It's up there. That's a funny team, that Delibird vid. But obviously, I'm the guy that puts Sceptile on the map. I've used Blaziken. I've used Swampert. I've used Mightyena before, just because it gets Intimidate. We were talking about Linoon. I've hit rank 1 in 2018 with Linoon. That was fun. I've used Beautifly. There are Beautifly videos. I've used Dustox as well. Obviously, I used a ton of Ludicolo. I used Shiftry about 8 months ago. We've used Swellow back in like 2015, like Big Guts Facade. Entei could work instead of Arcanine, but I like the Intimidate. If I were to cut the Arcanine, I'd put in Incineroar there. But I've used Pelipper a lot, used Gardevoir a lot. I have used Masquerain in 2017, pairing that with Tapu Koko. So what you would do is, you would go Masquerain and Tapu Koko, and Masquerain gets unnerved, right? So they won't be able to eat their berries. This is back when like Wiki Berries restored 50% of the health. Imagine like those pinch berries restore 33%. They used to restore 50%. So you turn off their ability to activate their pinch berries, and you would use like an AoE move, like got Muddy Water. So you'd lead like Masquerain and Tapu Koko, and you would Scarf your Masquerain, right? And your Tapu Koko would go for an absolutely massive Tapu Z move, the thing that did 75% of a mon's health on their big threat, and then your Masquerain would Muddy Water, finish them off, and they wouldn't be able to activate their berry. That's the cool team. That's the good team. That's fun stuff. I've won Premier Challenges and Mid-Seasons with Breloom. Those are up there as well. I've used Slacking. It's just not that great. You've Ninjask a bunch of times before. Shedinja, same thing. I love using Specs X-Cloud. I've used that pretty much every year that it's viable at some point. I've used Hariyama. Last year that I really liked it was probably 2016, but I have used it. We've used Nose Pass, but I think Probopass is better. We've even used the Azurill, and a lot of people don't know that Azurill, that it's not a water type. It's a normal fairy. I have used Delcatty. I have a team building guide for Delcatty, actually. That's up on YouTube. I have a team building guide showing how to build a team around Delcatty that I would highly recommend. It's a lot of fun. I've used Sableye, I've Top Cut, and won a bunch of events with both Sableye and Mega Sableye. I've used Mawile in pretty much every format that it's legal, even the ones without Mega. Aggron's my boy. I love Aggron. I've used Medicham because Mega Medicham was really good. I've used Mega Manectric as well. I have used Plusle. I don't know if I use Minun, but I'm going to count these as one. I don't think I've used Minun, but I have used Plusle. And that team might have also had a Minun in it. But I'm going to count those as one because they're like the same thing. Very different from like Volbeat Luminous. I've used both of these. So those are both good. I've used Swallow one time in a rental team, and I brought it to the games. I don't know if I used it in any of the games, but it was definitely there. But I have used one. It's in the thumbnail somewhere probably. I've used Sharpedo a lot. I've used Wailord. The 1000 HP Wailord. I've definitely used Roserade. Let's see. I've used Mega Camerupt. I've obviously used our boy Torkoal. Grumpig. Maybe? That one might be. We might not have used Grumpig before. I don't know if I've used Grumpig, but it's possible. It's totally possible. Because like all throughout 2017, I used viewer rental teams. So I do think that I have used Grumpig at some point because like it gets some weird, there's combos and stuff like that. See, Happany's not like, Happany doesn't count. Because like you guys are saying like unevolved Pokemon. It's like, you have not used Swablu, you not the Pokemon master. It's like, you gotta say evolved things, guys. No, I haven't what? I haven't used Roserade? Yes, I have. I've used millions of Roserade. I've used so much Roserade. I've used Spinda, Grumpig. I think, so like, just because it's not searchable doesn't mean I haven't used it. I'm pretty sure I have used it. Because a couple cool things that Grumpig gets is like, Grumpig got like Own Tempo and Gluttony before like a lot of other Mons did. And so I'm pretty sure there's like a Teeter Dance rental code that I used in like, before rental codes existed, you had to download a QR code. I've used Cacturn as well. Cacturn is one of my favorite Mons, actually. I love Cacturn. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've used like a Grumpig rental code, like Teeter Dance, Own Tempo combo team. But Spin I've definitely used. Choice Scarf Spin is one of my favorites with Contrary. I've even used Trapinch. I've used Flygon, unfortunately. Love Cacturn. Altaria. Used that a bunch. I've used Zangoose. I've used Seviper. I've used both Lunatone and Solrock. I've used Wishcash this year. I've used Crawdaunt before. That's probably going back to 2012, though. I've used Claydol early in Sword and Shield. Let's see. I've used Credilli, obviously. I have used Armaldo before. That was in 2018. I've used Melodic every year. I have a lot of videos using Cast Form where I show off all of the Cast Form forms. I've used Kecleon with Regigigas back in 2015. I've used Mega Bannet. That was my Nationals 2014 team. Was built around Mega Bannet. It's one of my favorite mons. I've used Dusclops. Tropius. I've used Tropius. Let's look it up. Tropius. There's no Tropius, like, video. But I know I've used it as a joke. I know that I've used Tropius. I have used Tropius. It must have been in 2017, though. Yeah, had to have been in 2017. But I do like myself some Tropius. Definitely a cool, underrated mon. I like grass flying typing. Chimecho. I've used Chimecho. Right? I had to have used Chimecho at some point. Chimecho's actually not a bad mon. People sleep on it, but actually has really good base stats. I've used Chimecho before. It would have been in 2018, though. I've used Mega Absol. I have CP. I've earned CP that for the current rotation of CP with Mega Absol. So I have current CP with Absol and Mega Absol. I've used both Glalie and Frostless. We'll get to that. I've used Walrein multiple years. Let's see. Huntail and Gorbis. I've used Gorbis. I don't know if I used Huntail. I might not have used Huntail. Yeah, I might actually, we'll say that Huntail. I don't know if I've used Huntail. I don't think I have. I know what it does. We've definitely used Electros, though. I don't think I've used Huntail. I'll say that one might be one that I haven't used. So that's one that I haven't used, Huntail. But it's also not in the game, right? So I can't even use it right now. Otherwise, I'm sure we would have. Relicanth I've used. I've used Love Disc. I've done a bunch of Valentine's videos with it. Obviously used Salamence. Obviously used Metagross. I've used all the Regis before. Same thing with the Latios forms, all these Ubers. I've used all these. I've used Deoxys before. We're in Gem 4. And I probably have used all these, just because I played so much Gem 4. I've used Torterra, and a lot of these videos are going to be, for these guys, a lot of these videos are probably going to be back in, like, the 2012 eras. So, like, I used Torterra in, like, lower tiers. I've used Infernape, Empoleon. Empoleon also gets Defiant as a hidden ability. It's super, super nice. I've used Staraptor, one of my favorite mons ever. I've used Bibarel as a joke. I've used Bidoof as a joke. I've used Kricketune. We talked about that a little bit earlier. I have used Kricketune in a rental team, but it didn't really do that much. That was probably back in 20... What year would that have been? 16? Probably 16. As a joke. I've obviously used Luxray even recently. I've used a ton of Roserade. It's such a good mon. I've used Ramparados. When you pair it with the Tyrantrum, that's definitely a cool mon that I've used. Used Bastiodon, one of my favorite walls in every format. I have a video, for some reason, that gets amazing views. Like, it still to this day gets views. It's called The Bulkiest Bastiodon. And for some reason, that video, I think it's from, like, 2015. But that video, like, is probably my best performing video of that time. It still probably gets, like, 200 or 300 views a day. For some reason, I don't know what that video is. What about that video makes it so, like, well, like, good for the algorithm, but it's a good video. It's a good team. Bastion's awesome. I have used the Wormdams before. I made it. There was a really cool Wormdam team at the very end of 2018 that was a rental code that was fine. I've used Mothim. I used Vespiquen like a month ago. I've used Pachirisu before, obviously. Floatzel. I think I have used Floatzel. Let's see. I have to have used Floatzel. It's Swift Swim, and there's not always a lot of Swift Swimmers that are legal in current formats, so I'm pretty sure I've used it. I've used Cherim. Actually, it took me a long time to use Cherim, so I didn't use Cherim until this year, but I did use Cherim. Obviously, the first person in the top cut region with Gastrodon. I've used Ambipom. That's going back into those singles videos in like 2013, 2014. I've used Drifblim a ton. Usually in 2017 was probably the best year for it. I've used Mega Lopunny in 2016. Miss Magus. I have to use that too. I had to have used it. I've used it. I think I've used it in a Mono Ghost team at some point, probably in 2018. Mega Sableye game for you basically went through the opponent with Sableye. Sableye is so good. I've used Honchkrow. We've used that 2019. I think I used Honchkrow. I've used Purugly. I have a Purugly team building guide. I've used Skuntank. In singles, it's a great check to like Pult Mimikyu teams. I use Bronzong in Players Cup 4 qualifiers. I don't think I have a Happy team, but like I said, those Pokemon don't really count. I have used Chatot. That Pokemon used to be banned because you used to be able to like change. Basically, when you use the Hyper Voice or whatever, the move that it had, it said like the audio track that you recorded into your game, and I think it was like Gen 5, and so you could record profanities, and when it used hypervoice, it would say it. So chat used to be banned, but I've used it. Spirit Tomb, I've definitely used that thing as well. Used that about a year ago, maybe, a little bit less. Obviously, we use Garchomp all the time. I've used both Riolu. I've used all three of these, Munchlax, Riolu, and Lucario. I've used Hippopotam, mostly in singles. Drapion we used 2018? Yeah. Toxstroke I used a little while ago, actually. Toxstroke's pretty good. Carnivine. Let's see. There's no Carnivine video. Maybe Carnivine. That one might be one that I haven't used as well. And this guy, I think, is in the game. But I don't know if I've used Carnivine. I'll say that... Actually, I have used it. Sorry. There's a Carnivine team that I have that uses Ring Out. I think there's a Carnivine video I have that uses Ring Out. Or something stupid. It's one of those stupid things, like, it's a meme team. But it's from 2012. Alright. Let's go back to... Oh, did we lose our spot? We have used Carnivine, though. We talked about using Lumineon. It would get Tailwind and Storm Drain from Move Tutor moves. I've used Mantike. Used a ton of Abomasnow. Used Weavile, obviously. Used Magnezone in pretty much every format. Used Licky Licky a lot. It's great versus Weathermons in, like, restricted formats. So 2016 was a great year for Licky Licky. Used Rhyperior. Used Tangrowth last year. Used Electivire going all the way back to Gen 4. Same with Magmortar. Togekiss busted. I love Yamega. It's the one Pokemon I want in Sword and Shield. I've used all the evolutions. I used Gliscor, Mamoswine, Porygon. Obviously, we use Glade. I've used Probopass a lot. Probopass is good. We used Dusknoir quite recently, actually, in just those ghost teams that we were using, like, right after Players Cup 1. So, that was cool. We used Frostlash. I used all the Rotom forms, even the base Rotom. I've used the 3 legendary, whatever these spirit things are. Azel's my favorite one. I've used all these restricted thingies. I've used Manaphy once. I don't think I've used Darkrai, but I'm not going to count it, because, like, you can't really get it. Actually, I might have used Darkrai. I don't know. I'm not going to count Darkrai. It doesn't count. Same thing. I've used Shaman before. I don't know if I've... Actually, I haven't used Arceus. I played Ubers. I might have actually used our Darkrai in Ubers. Yeah, I'm going to say I probably did on the, like, couple Ubers videos I've done. Let's see. Let me see it. Let me see it. I'm going to look at this video for like a second. My team is... Yeah, I got a Darkrai on it. All right, ha, got it. I got Darkrai and Arceus. We take those. All right. We take those. All right. So let's see. What else we got? Obviously, Shamans. I've used Superior before. I really like the Contrary Superior. Is one of the best mons. I've used Emboar. I used Emboar at the end of 2019. It was such a cool tech. That was a very, very fun team. I've used Samurott, probably going back to like Gen 5 though. It would have been like a long time ago. I don't think I've used Watchog. There we go. That's one that I haven't used. I have not used this thing. So we've not used the Watchog. That's like 2 or 3 things. So that's another one. Have not used this thing. I've used Stoutland before. Obviously used Liepard. I've used all 3 of these little elemental monkeys. Mashron is one of my favorite top 10 Pokemon. Don't think I've used Pheasant either. As weird as that sounds. I just haven't used it. I've always... In formats where it and Staraptor are legal, I would always use Staraptor or even use like Toucanon. So I haven't used that one. I haven't used Pheasant either. I think I've had it in a team. I will say I've used a team that has Pheasant in it for a video, but I never ever brought the Pheasant. So yeah, we'll say that. Zebstrika, I've used that in... I've used... Hitmonchan made a lot of like rental codes with Zebstrika. It's one of his favorite Pokemons along with Mega Pinsir, so I've used that in 2018. Gigalith I've used for sure. Swoobat, I was one of the people that helped create that like weakness policy, like Simple Beam, not Simple Beam, but like Simple Swoobat. That's cool. I also use Simple Swoobat for an international challenge with like Double Team. That was a lot of fun. We're using Extra Duel right now. I've used Audino and Mega Audino before. I've used Conkeldurr and Girder. I've used Seismitoad. I haven't used the team that used Throw and Sock, and I think I brought Throw to one of those games, but you know, we like Sock here. I've used Leavanny one time. And it got one-shotted. I don't even got a chance to use a move, but it was in that team, and I did bring it. It was in a RU game, but it's from, like, 2013. I've used Scolipede a decent amount. I've used Whimsicott, obviously. Lilligant, obviously. I have used Basculin, because Basculin gets, like, a really, really big, like, nuke move. I think it gets head smash and has, like, one of the rock heads or something like that. But Basculin hits, like, a freaking... It's adaptability. That's what it is. So, just, like, adaptability, like, dumpsters everything. You can't power herb Beak Blast to cannon, because I don't think those were, like... I mean, I don't know if you can. I don't. That doesn't work like that. Beak Blast doesn't work off power herb. Beak Blast is more like a focus punch, I think. No, I don't know. I don't know if you can. But I love Toucannon. I've used Toucannon before. Crocodile used that. Obviously using our Bantan. I've used Zenbodam regular. We've used Maractus. Crustal's one of my favorite Pokemon. Scrafty, I brought that to my very first regional. I've used Sigilyph before. I've used Cofagrigus. I've used Caracosta. I've used Archeops. Used that a couple days ago. Used Garbodor, used Zoroark, I've used Chinchino, I've used Gothitelle, I've used Reuniclus. I don't know. I'll give you guys Swanna. I don't know if I've used it. I don't have proof on the top of my head that I've used it, so I probably haven't. I've obviously used Vanillux. I've used Saucebuck before. I've used Escavalier. I've used Amoonguss. I've used Jellicent. I've even used this thing because it was one of the better walls in the lower tiers of RU back in 2014. Galvantula I've used in both singles and doubles. Ferrothorn I've used before. Kling Klang I used a rental team that someone made last year with Kling Klang in it. I've used Electros. Very, very cool mon. Electros actually has a lot of world's top cuts in the older formats like 2012 and 2013 and 2011. Very, very popular Pokemon in those formats. I love Electros. Electric types with Levitate, like, this is like the electric Rotom. But Electros is super cool. I love this thing. Beheem. We used Beheem in one rental team this year. Chandelure I've used, obviously. Haxorus we use all the time. Used Beartic before. I think it was a rental code that someone submitted, but it was a Beartic team that was like super cool, physical, Slush Rush, Swift Swim, Beartic or whatever. Cryonoggle, I've used this thing as a proc policies. A Silgor, we've used it before, but we're also going to be using it like next week as well. I've used both Stunfisk forms, and historically, like, Stunfisk was a Pokemon we built a team around for the Pikachu Cup. The, like, a mono-electric team cup thing. Obviously used Mineshadow a lot, one of the best Pokemons from VGC 2011. I have used the Drudagon, it just doesn't come up on a search. I was using mono dragon teams, and this thing's pretty good. I've used Golurk before, just because it's no guard, it's an awesome Machamp. I've used Bisharp. I have used Buffalant. I think if we come over here and we go... Does it come up? Oh, I have a Buffalant. I know I have a Buffalant video. Buffalant Beatdown. Can you see it? There you go. Buffalant Beatdown. The video's right there. Easy peasy. Told you guys I had it. We've used Braviary. We've used Manabuzz, even the rest of Manabuzz. We've even used Heat more because Pika Trainer made a rental team. We've used Durant. We've obviously used Hydreigon, Volcarona a ton. All three of the legendary dogs. All of these different legendaries we've used before. Even the Keldeo. I've used Meloetta before. We're in Gen 6. I've also used Genesect. Let's see. Who do we got? I love Chestnut. It's one of my favorite mons. I want it back so bad. I love grass fighting as a type. I think it's so cool. I love Delphox as well. Fire Psychic's really cool, being able to set screens. I love that thing. Greninja's okay. I've used both Greninjas. We used Diggersby this year. It actually took me until this year to use Diggersby, but I did. Talonflame, I've used it, obviously. Vivillon, took that to my first 2014 regional, and it's one of my favorite mons. It's pretty much just a faster Butterfree, so it's really, really good. I've used Pyroar. It was great in 2014. You would specs it and just use like Heat Wave and Hyper Voice. It was great. Very, very good mon. I've used Foragis in 2014 as well. I've used Go-Goat in 2014. Pangoro, I have a Pangoro team building guide. You can check that out. Furfur, I also used in 2014. I think it's a very, very underrated mon. This is another mon that I want them to add back into the game because I think it gets a Fur Coat, and it was the first mon to get that. Now that's Alolan Persian's ability. I really like Fur Coat as an ability. It's a very cool mon. We've used both Esper forms, or sorry, both Meowstic forms. Obviously, I've used Aegislash. I have used Aromatisse. I have used Slurpuff. There's only one video with Aromatisse, though. I don't know where it is, but I know I have used it. It's a very underrated Trick Room setter, especially because it has 29 base speed. Very, very good mon. I've used a lot of Malamar. Barbicle. I've used Barbicle just to shell smash something. I have to have used it. It must have been it must have been on a rental team, but I've done it. I've used Dragalge before. I've used Clotster before, one of my favorite mons. Heliolisk I've unfortunately used before. Tyrantrum, we've done a ton of Scarf Tyrantrum. Bunch of Aurorus in 2018. Use Sylveon Hawlucha. This is actually a really cool combo by itself because you can quick attack your Hawlucha, activate its Unburden and proc policy. Enosh came up with that around the start of Sword and Shield, and it was actually a really, really cool team. I've used the Dene, I've used Carbink, I've used Goodra, I've used Klefki. I've used both Phantom and Trevenant, and I've used a ton of Pumpkaboo. Actually, I've used, I think, all of these sizes for different various reasons. There are different reasons. They all have different speed stats, which are pretty important. I've used Gourgeist. I've used Avalugg. It's a very, very good mon. In singles, great with Long Dracovish. I've used Noivern, Xerneas, Yveltal, Zygarde. I've used Diancie. I have used Hoopa. I don't know if I have used Volcania in singles. And we're into Gen 7, where obviously we've used Decidueye. We've used Incineroar before. I've used Primarina. And I think I've used Primarina the least, but it's probably 2 or 3 times I've done it. Toucannon is one of my favorite mons. I absolutely love Toucannon. I want that guy back so bad. I love Toucannon. Gumshoes. We'll put Gumshoes on the list of Pokemon that I haven't used, because I don't know if I have. See, it's like Gumshoes and like Watchog are like things that I don't know if I've used really, along with Huntail. I've obviously used Vikavolt. I have used Crab Brawler and Crab Dominable. I've used both of these. Both of them. Crab Brawler was actually a really, really cool meme tech with Absol back in 2018. So that was a cool team. I've used Oricorio before. I've used Rabambi. I've used all the Lycanroc forms. I've used Wishiwashi pretty recently. I've used a lot of Toxapex. I've used Mudsdale. I've used the Spider. I've used a lot of Lurantis. I've used Shiinotic before, but I like Amoonguss better. We're using Salazzle today, even though I've used it all the way back then too. We've used Beware. We've used Serena. We've used Oranguru, Passimian. It took me until this gen to use Passimian, though. I'll give it what it is. I never used Passimian until this gen, and I used it on a rental team that Ken's made with like the Misty Explosion play. I've used Gliciopod. I've used Palossand before. We're also using Palossand next week. I've used Pukumuku before. It's better in singles, I think. I've used Type Null and Silvally. I've used Minior as well. I think Minior's definitely an underrated pick in that format, but Minior's always cool. I've used Komala once on, I think Eeks made that team, but this is a Pokemon that Eeks likes as well. I've used Turtonator, Togamaru, Mimikyu, and Bruxus. Bruxus is so good. I'm happy that Bruxus isn't in the game, because like being able to have a Trick Room that like you can't really stop is super hard to deal with, and like it would be able to easily policy proc things. So Bruxus is actually a really good mon. We've used it a lot. I've used Drampa, I've used Delmise, I've used a lot of Komao, I've used all the Tapus, I've used Solgaleo, Lunala, I've used all of the Ultra Beasts. I've used all of them. I've used Zeraora. I brought Melmetal to technically, does this count as using Melmetal? I dittoed a Melmetal. Does that count? I'm gonna say that counts, because I would never bring a Melmetal to a game, but I dittoed one, and I'll take that. Rillaboom I've used, obviously Cinderace, Inteleon. Greedent I used as a joke one time, so I will say that I've used that thing, and it was not like accident, it was just a one-of thing. Corviknight, definitely used that. Orbeetle, I've used that. Thievul used that. Eldegoss used it. I think I've used all the Sword and Shield mons. I really do think I have. Like Dreadnought, Boltund, Colossal, Falapple, Appleton, Sandaconda. We even used Cramorant. Barraskewda. We've used both Toxtricity forms. Love Centiskorch. I've used Graplock one time. It was better than I thought. I've used Poltergeist a few times. Hatterene all the time. Grimmsnarl all the time. I used Obstagoon kind of recently, but it's still a good mon. Definitely better than people give it credit for. I've used Visualize Rank 1 Surfetch team. I've used Runerigus in like a meme team where you would like pass abilities around. Cool mon for sure. Love Alcremie, love Falinks. I've used Frostmoth. Remember the time our vested Frostmoth ate that Charizard Wildfire and didn't do like any damage? That was cool. I've used a rental team with Ice-Cube, but I don't think it's very good. I still don't think it's very good. I used both Entity forms. I've used Morpeko. I should use Morpeko again. I used it near the start of the format, and I think we can come back to that. I've used Copper. I've used all the fossils, and I've only used Arctivish once, but I did use it. Duraludon's good. Dragapult's good. I've used all these legendary mons for sure. Yep. So, out of the whole decks, the only Pokemon I have not used are Huntail, Watchog, and what was that other? One of the other like base forms of the start of the game things. It wasn't Greedent, because I used that one. What was it? Gumshoes. Yeah. So Huntail, Watchhogs, and Gumshoes. Those are the only Pokemon I've not used in the whole history of the game.